Welcome to the Whiskey Vault. I'm Daniel Whittington, Chancellor of Wizard Academy and Whiskey Marketing School. We're going to do a couple things. What is whiskey exactly, and why does it exist? Now, if you're watching this, the odds that you need to know the answer to this question are close to zero, but I have found that I am underestimating or overestimating people's knowledge about whiskey. And at least once a week in places where I'm pouring whiskey for people, I get some version of a question of like, what exactly is whiskey? What makes it whiskey? So I'm going to shoot it. For those of you who found this video because you Googled what is whiskey, here you go. For those of you who are here all the time and you're one of us, maybe this will be a helpful primer on how you can do a quick, concise delivery of this content for somebody who asks you that question, usually a family member or a friend coming over and hanging out with you. And we'll drink Teeling together. The basic process goes like this. Whiskey is a distilled alcoholic beverage made from fermented grain, aged in barrels. Sometimes, not always, mostly. But grain, has to be grain. If it has anything other than grain, it's not whiskey. Most countries have rules about having to be aged in a barrel or it's not whiskey. So, fermented grain, you pick your malt, barley, corn, rye, whatever, turns into, let's talk about production. You start with your grain of any kind, including rice actually, and then you cook it in water like a porridge to convert the sugars to starches, or other way around, sorry, the starches into sugars so that the yeast can feed it or eat it. So then you cool it down, add yeast, it ferments. It turns into a low alcohol content wash or a distiller's beer. It's like 7-8% alcohol. You take that, you put it into some type of still, and you distill it. If some people distill it twice on pot stills or 3 times, some people distill it once on a column still. Either way, distillation is sort of cutting, condensing, isolating the higher alcohol content and the flavor congeners and compounds that you want that to keep from the things that were created during fermentations and from the new make. Then you take that, which is new, by the way. It's clear spirit. It looks like vodka. Isn't vodka. It's not vodka. If it distilled high enough to be vodka, it can't be whiskey. You can go close with light whiskey and grain spirits. And then you put it in a barrel. Most of the impact and the flavor of whiskey comes from the barrel. Not all, but like, 60, 70% plus, depending on how boring the new make is and how old you age it. There's all kinds of rules, but the barrel is going to add all of the things that you recognize as a consumer when you smell vanilla and tannin and oak and it's lactones and all these things that you don't know, they turn into the flavor of whiskey. It oxidizes, and then now you've got whiskey. There are so many variations on all of that, but that's the basics of whiskey. That's what whiskey is. Grain product, aged in oak, distilled, aged in oak, or wood in some countries. Now, why does whiskey exist? Farmers, that's the shortest reason. Now it's commerce and production, but originally it was farmers. Originally whiskey, just like all other farmers, it was a byproduct of production. So if a farmer raised grapes vines, then they made brandy. If they worked in sugarcane, they ended up making rum. If they worked with grain from fields, they ended up making whiskey. Remember, I always say there's 4 layers of farming. Level 1, I'm hungry, so you grow something and you eat it. Level 2, I'm full because I grew some and ate it, but I still have some. I'm going to save it. Level 3, I'm full, I've saved some, I'm going to sell the rest. Level 4, I've eaten, I've saved some, I've sold all I can, I still have some. At that point is where whiskey shows up. Either you then take that grain and travel somewhere else where there's a market for it, or you distill it and turn it into a spirit. And what we found dating back to the 1400s, distilling grain into whiskey was a commercial proposition. So at a certain point, the farmer goes, oh, if I distill all of it, I can make a lot more money. And it's easier to transport. And then farmers turn into farm distillers. And that's a whole other story. Let's talk about Teeling. Teeling is an Irish whiskey distillery in Dublin. The first new real craft distillery in Dublin post the big brand buyout consolidation of all the Irish whiskey brands. You could argue almost the second craft distillery post the 1960s in Dublin. Founded by 2 brothers whose father founded a whole other distillery, and they used the success of that to build a new craft distillery in Dublin called Teeling. I'm a huge fan. I've hung out with them. I like them as humans. I am not the least bit objective about Teeling. I love Alex. I just love everything they're doing. And so this is just a affinity review. If you haven't tried Teeling small batch, this is their blended Irish, effectively, right? So there's, you can argue 4 kinds of Irish whiskey. I would argue 3 and then a byproduct of the 3 combinations of 3, but that would call it 4. So pot still, which is pot stilled whiskey with a % of unmalted barley in the mash. Single malt, which is similar to Scotland, just malted barley in a pot still, and then grain whiskey, which is column distilled grain spirit. And when you start blending various combinations of those, you get blended Irish whiskey. Their small batch is a blended Irish whiskey. It's a mix of their grain distilled spirit and their malt whiskey. So it's closer to, who does malt and grain as the base blend? Bushmills Budget does that. Jameson is pot still and grain spirit on the budget. Powers is pot still and Tullamore is all 3. So I think Teeling is closer to what you would get with the more budget Bushmills blend. But they then finish them for, I think it's 6 to 12 months in Nicaraguan rum casks. Oh man, I love this because it's meaty. It's got weight and body to it and density. It's sweet vanilla cream, but it also has this slight metallic icing note that I always get from rum cask things. It's dense sweet pear and peaches. A lot of vanilla. It's got that real viscous, oily pot still layering, but it's also got this kind of dancing, almost citrusy, like sparkle and shine. Sparkle and shine. It's a dance combo. I'm sparkle, he's shine. All the cream and vanillins are all in that palate. The rum's just doubling down on that grain whiskey impact. But for a blend and for a lower proof of 46%, it's a great whiskey, man. I'm a fan, and gotta say, like, I love these bottles a lot. Just love the bottles. I love everything about them. All right, so what's whiskey for? Drinking, enjoying, understanding, appreciating, analyzing, but also people, connection, conversations. Sometimes you're nerds, especially if you're on this channel, and whiskey is for really diving in and trying to understand and explore but it's way more fun with another person. Even if what you want to do with the whiskey is understand and analyze it, you still get 10 times more out of that process by sitting across the table from another human being while you both talk and analyze and understand and compare notes. And sometimes it's just the thing you have a pour so you can connect with another human being. So I'm going to argue that while in the nerd world and when your living is made from this, analyzing and studying is a big deal, even for us, the primary purpose of whiskey is human connection. Full stop. That's the point of it. The point of a glass of whiskey is to sit across from someone you care about or have an interesting conversation with a stranger and have something shared. It's a third thing. Not the first thing, not the second thing. First thing and second thing are you and the other people. The third thing is the whiskey. And I'll tell you, sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, you have a better conversation when just sort of sitting with a glass with somebody and just talking. Because you can pause, smell the whiskey and sit and just kind of be on your own for a little bit and it's not weird. If you sit across from someone at a table and there's nothing there and you just look at them and you go like, all right, so let's talk. How was your week? It feels like It's very intense. It's almost like a counseling session. And then if you sit in that conversation, you just don't talk for a little bit. You kind of look around. So how are the kids? Yeah, good? That's weird, man. Doesn't that feel weird even on camera? But if I sit and pour a whiskey, I'm like, here, have some of this. Yeah, good, right? Oh, man, I smelled that. That's from blah, blah, blah. Yeah, too cool. And sit that, and we sit quietly for a little bit. Yeah. I go, so how's it going? How was your week? Good, we talk. That's cool. Sit with the whiskey for a little bit. Don't talk. People watching the bar. Watch the weird TV channel, whatever's playing that you don't normally watch, but now it's on in a bar, and you're like, oh, hey, I saw a thing on Facebook, but your kid just got that award. Congratulations. Oh, yeah, cool. See, that's fine. That's what whiskey's for. It gives you a third thing. So here's to us, and them that's like us. Damn few. And this is our third thing. And for those watching it, I hope that was helpful. And I, for one, am really glad you're here. Cheers to you. If you like YouTube videos where we talk about third things, it feels vaguely dirty. I don't know why. I guess this is the one. Like and subscribe.